If your vehicle has a wheel lock, you want to grab that first out of the trunk, and also this to pull the covers off. We're going to take these caps off. That's what you use this hook for. Just slide in there and pull these off. Now we're going to take the wheel off. The wheel lock key goes in that one. And use a 17mm socket to take off the lug nuts. These are actually lug bolts. So before you take the last one off, make sure you support the wheel. Now I'm going to support the wheel, slide it off. Pull the wheel off. We need to take the lower bolt out at the base of the strut. And on this side, we're going to use a triple square. This is a 14. And on the other side, we can use a socket, use an 18mm. There's just a nut. So take that nut off, put this on here. Watch out for the brake hose. Take that off. Use a little rust penetrant in there. Just soak it down a little bit. And you can just take a hammer, just try to tap that out a little bit. Oops. Pull that bolt out. Before we separate the knuckle from the strut, we're going to take this nut off right here. This goes to the sway bar link, and I'm going to use an 18mm socket. Take that off. You can use an Allen key for the center stud to keep it from spinning. Use a 5mm. So you want to loosen this and hold this. And that's the idea. Although if the nut is on there pretty tight, it's just going to spin and strip out like ours. Now what we're going to do is use some locking pliers on the back side to prevent the stud from spinning. When you do this, it does damage the boot. And there we go. Then take a punch and a hammer. Just try to give it a tap. You're tapping down on the knuckle to try to separate the strut. I'm going to be careful of the brake hose afterwards, once we get it all the way down. And that's separated. And you might want to use a bungee cord or something to keep the axle from pulling out. You don't want to break the axle. So grab a bungee cord. And it'd be a good idea to just loosen up that. Just pull the wheel speed sensor wire, just so it has a little bit of slack in it. Hook the bungee cord over here. There you go. Should be good. I'm just going to use a floor jack just under the lower control arm, just to support the lower control arm so the axle doesn't get messed up. So that's good right there. Take this wiper arm off, take the cap off, just use a pick or a straight blade screwdriver. Just get underneath the cap, just like that. Then use a 13mm socket. Just hold the arm while you're taking the nut off, and be careful, don't crack the windshield or anything. Loosen that up. Before you take the arm off, just take a piece of tape or a piece of chalk and just index where the wiper is so you can put it back where it was when you're done. Then grab the arm. You're going to push down and lift it, go back and forth. You should be able to break it free. Here we go. And grab this weather stripping and just slide it off. Set that aside. There's another piece of the shroud right here. You need to pry up on that. Just try to get that out if you can. It just clips in. Do that on both sides. Then just grab the shroud right here and just try to pull it up. You don't want to pry against the window or anything. You don't want to crack the windshield. Just do it with your hands. Slides up like that. And same on this side, you have that little piece. You can slide that out. Set that aside. And just slide it out. Now we're going to take these 3 bolts out, use a 13mm socket. And take this one. And you may have to, if they're not coming out right, what you might have to do is use a 14mm socket and a long extension, and there's a nut at the base or the top of the strut mount. So you might have to put the socket on that. With the last one, I am going to use my other hand and try to grab the strut, prevent it from falling, and take this last bolt out. There we go. Just grab the strut assembly, slide it out. Now take the new strut assembly, slide it up in position, and take some of the bolts. Make sure you have those in your hand, and you can get those started. You can let go once you get one started. All right, we have all those in there, just kind of loose. We're gonna attach the bottom part first before we tighten these down. Now there's a little tab right there. That's gonna go in that slot on the back side of the knuckle, right there. So just line this up. You can just twist it the correct way. And slide the knuckle up. Pull the bungee cord off if you put one on. Oops. There we go. You can just slide it up. Grab the bolt, slide the bolt through. Should hold. Put the nut on. And tighten that down. And grab the torque wrench. And we're going to torque this to 52 foot-pounds. And then once you do that, you want to go an additional 90 degrees. If you don't have a torque angle meter, do the best you can. Then we can tighten these bolts up. We want to torque these to 11 foot-pounds. And then an additional 90 degrees. Again, if you don't have an angle meter, do the best you can. 90 degrees is pretty much a right angle. All right, and line the top up. You might have to adjust this. And it helps to do both sides at the same time. Push that through. Put the nut on. And tighten it the same way you did the lower one. And tighten this down. And again, for this one, if you can get a torque wrench on there, you can torque that to 48 foot-pounds. And install the wheels. Line that up. Put the lug bolt in. Now I'm going to use the torque wrench and torque the lug bolts to 89 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. And go back around again, double check. Take the caps, line them up, and push them on. After you're done this job, keep in mind you should bring it to a local shop to have the vehicle aligned so you don't have premature tire wear.